Okay, so let's dive into something that's honestly one of the most practical tools you can have for understanding your own mind, cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. We're going to look at what it actually is, how it works in real life, and why it's just so powerful. But first, let me ask you this. Are your thoughts actual, solid facts, or are they just habits? I mean, think about it. We all have these automatic thoughts that pop into our heads, and they feel so real, so convincing. But what if a lot of those thoughts are just mental shortcuts? Habits that we formed over time. And the best part about habits, you can change them. So at its heart, CBT is built on this really simple but kind of mind-blowing idea. Picture your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors as three corners of a triangle. They're all connected, and they're constantly influencing each other, usually in a loop that we're not even aware of. Let's break that loop down. It almost always starts with a thought. It could be anything really. A tiny worry about a meeting, a harsh judgment about yourself, or an assumption about what a friend is thinking. And bam, that thought instantly sparks a feeling. And that feeling, whether it's anxiety or frustration or sadness, it doesn't just stay put. Nope. It directly affects what you do next. It might make you want to avoid a situation, or maybe snap at someone, or just shut down completely. And here's the kicker. This is what really locks the cycle in place. Whatever you end up doing or not doing often circles right back around and proves that original thought right, which makes it even stronger and more believable the next time it shows up. Okay, check out this classic example. The thought pops in, I'm gonna totally mess this up. That thought triggers this wave of anxiety, right? And because you feel so anxious, what do? You avoid the task, procrastinate. But by avoiding it, you just reinforce that core belief that you couldn't have handled it anyway. You see that vicious cycle. So this brings us to the most crucial insight from CBT. Your thoughts are not facts. They're not gospel truth. They are simply your brain's interpretation of events. And those interpretations are colored by everything, your past, your mood, your fears. And realizing this, well, that's the key that unlocks the whole thing. All right, so if our thoughts are just interpretations, how do we actually stop these automatic patterns from running our lives? Well, CBT gives us a really simple but incredibly effective three-step method. So, step one, you've got to catch the thought. What's the story you're telling yourself right in that moment? Step two, you have to challenge it, kind of put it on trial. Is this thought actually 100% true? Where's the proof? And then step three, you find a more balanced, more realistic way to look at the situation. And the shift here can seem really small, but trust me, the impact is huge. You go from this really painful, certain thought, everyone is judging me, to a much more neutral and frankly, more accurate observation. I don't actually know what other people are thinking. See? You're not trying to force some fake positivity. You're just aiming for what's real. Okay, let's walk through a scenario we've all lived through. You send a text, you see those two little check marks that mean it was delivered, and then nothing. Crickets. And what's the first thought that jumps into your head? For a lot of us, it's something like this, a conclusion that feels deeply personal and stings a little. And that first thought, it almost never stops there. It snowballs. It goes from, they're ignoring me, to, I must have done something wrong. It immediately turns inward to self-blame. And that's what creates that sinking feeling and kicks off that whole negative emotional spiral. But right here, this is the moment where you can stop the whole thing. This one simple question is the intervention. Before you let that painful story become your reality, you just pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what else could possibly be true here? And the second you ask that question, your brain starts opening up. You open the door to literally dozens of other possibilities that are way more likely and way less about you. Maybe they're just busy, or driving, or maybe their phone died, or they just saw it, meant to reply, and got distracted. Now, these unhelpful thought patterns, these automatic habits, they actually have a name. They're called cognitive distortions, and they are basically common, predictable ways our brains tend to twist reality. Learning how to spot them is a total game changer in CBT. So let's look at some of the usual suspects. There's catastrophizing. That's when a small problem instantly becomes the worst-case scenario. Mind reading is exactly what we just did in the text message example, just assuming you know someone's intentions. All or nothing thinking is when everything is either amazing or a total failure, with no in between. And emotional reasoning, oh, that's a tricky one. That's when you decide something must be true just because it feels true. Seriously, learning to spot these is like turning on the lights in a dark room. So why does all this matter? Why why go to the trouble of identifying these cycles and thoughts and distortions? Because it all leads to something incredibly powerful. It gives you the ability to take back control of your own inner world. And really, this is the ultimate goal. You shift from being a prisoner of your mind, just swept away by every single thought and feeling, to becoming an observer of your mind. You learn to step back and see your thoughts for what they are, just thoughts. And that little bit of space, that's freedom. And the practical benefits here are just huge. When you understand your patterns, you can finally see why you keep avoiding certain things. When you challenge your fears, you can question that "I'm going to mess this up" thought instead of just accepting it as fact. And this lets you respond with clarity instead of just reacting out of habit. It's how you break those cycles, stop the overthinking, and build real, lasting resilience. So how can you start using this right now? Well, first, just practice pausing before you react, just a second or two. Second, try writing your thoughts down. It makes them way easier to look at objectively. Third, ask yourself grounding questions like, what's the evidence for this thought? Fourth, remember to reframe gently. You're aiming for balance, not overly positive. And finally, just remember this is a skill. It's like a muscle. The more you practice, the easier and more natural it gets.
And that brings us to the final question, which is really all about you. The real power here isn't just learning the theory, it's about actually applying it to your own life. So take a second and think, what's one automatic thought pattern that you have that you'd like to understand a little better, and maybe even start to change?